On day 19 of the Marvel movie marathon, we'll be putting down our hammers and pouring one out for Asgard in Thor Ragnarok. Before the movie came out, Thor was on the lower end of the popularity spectrum when it came to the Avengers. His own freaking brother was more popular than he was. So it was time to give Thor a new look. His franchise was it's kind of boring, to be honest. So they wanted to spice things up. And the first thing they did, they included the Hulk in the movie, which is a smart move. Those two have great rapport together and they're a good team. And on top of that, they introduced some new characters. Got Hela, who's Thor's long lost sister. Hela is hella overpowered, and she wants to take back the throne and rule the 9 realms like they used to do back in the day. She takes out the whole Asgardian fleet on her own. It's freaking crazy. I don't see how Thor could ever defeat this person on his own. But she's a hoot, man. She really hams it up in her role, and I wish her and Thor had more scenes together, or even her and Loki. I would have loved to see that banter, because she has plenty of charisma, and fortunately she's isolated to Asgard alone, and she doesn't get to interact with anyone until the end of the movie, at that finale, and it sucks. But it's great that we finally have a female villain in a Marvel movie. It only took us 18 films to get there. Thor goes on this crazy side quest to Sakaar, where we meet more new characters like the Grand Master, played by the awesome Jeff Goldblum. He's so weird, and this world we're in just has so much more personality than what we've seen in these movies to date. It's a breath of fresh air. And then on top of that, we have Valkyrie, who is an Asgardian warrior, but she's gone rogue. She's just chilling on Sakaar. She doesn't want to do anything. She wants nothing to do with the fight for Asgard. And the title of this movie is called Ragnarok. What's Ragnarok? Well, it basically means the destruction of all of Asgard. It's what we saw in Thor's vision in Age of Ultron. So the whole movie is just Thor trying to prevent Ragnarok, and he wants to save Asgard. They changed his personality a lot in this movie. They made him more of a goofball. I mean, Thor in the previous movies, he was alright. He was just a noble warrior type, but didn't have much else going on besides that. So I guess his time on Earth and space in general just kind of softened him up, and he makes a lot of jokes, and he messes up a lot and stuff like that. He's a goofball, which I have no problem with. It's not a huge change for his character, but it's a noticeable one. I'm fine with that. And this film it's frustrating because it feels like 2 movies fighting for dominance. The first one, which is the Ragnarok storyline with Hela, they want you to take it seriously, but the problem is you really can't, because you don't care about Asgard that much. We haven't spent enough time there to really have any emotional investment in the destruction of this place, and that's what sucks, because I would have loved to be invested and actually be worried if this place is going to explode or not. But the smart thing they do is they wipe the slate clean. Thor breaks up with Jane off screen because Natalie Portman was tired of these movies. You don't see any of her sidekicks either. They kill off the Warriors 3 in 2 seconds so Zachary Levi can go and do Shazam. And Odin dies. Odin, he goes in kind of an uneventful way. Loki's been in charge of Asgard for 4 years, and to my surprise, Asgard's pretty chill. He's not a bad ruler. Everybody seems to be happy. At the end of Dark World, I thought it was going to be a huge plot point for this movie. Oh man, Asgard's going to be in chaos. But no, Loki's just kicking back, watching plays based on his life. And he sends Odin to Earth, and I don't know if Odin dies because of how old he is. Maybe it's old age, or maybe being away from Asgard weakened him. But he dies, and before that happens, he tells Thor and Loki that they have a long lost sister. It's a huge secret that you've been keeping this whole time, and you're just like, oh, by the way, your sister's gonna come and like wreck shit. Peace out, y'all. It really paints Odin in a bad light, and I hate that because for so far he's been a pretty decent character, but doing this, dropping this bombshell so late in the game makes him look like a deadbeat dad, and there's enough deadbeat dads in the MCU. So the Ragnarok storyline doesn't pack enough impact for me. Every time we cut back to it, the movie just slows down to a halt, and you're waiting for the Sakaar stuff to happen. Now, the Sakaar stuff is the best part of this movie. It feels like an episode of a cartoon because all these weird aliens inhabit the place and weird rules and things with time. I love it. And then having the Hulk is a big plus as well. I'm finally glad they gave the Hulk a personality in this film, because up until this point he's just been a big green wrecking ball, and for him to actually talk and have conversations is a welcome change for the character. And I love that he's just pretty much a big baby in a giant body. It's really funny, and it makes me like the character more, because I think out of all the Avengers, the Hulk has been my least favorite so far. I love seeing the Avengers interact with each other, and that's why Phase 3 is so great. You get more of those interactions even in the solo films. You even have a little Doctor Strange cameo at the beginning of the movie, which is fun. It doesn't add much overall to the story, but it's neat that, oh yeah, Doctor Strange could show up in these films. Like, that's so cool. That's why I love how this universe is connected. But everything else, the car is great. The visuals, the characters, it feels more upbeat. But the best part of this film is at the very beginning. We get the Thor movie that we should have got 2 movies ago. It's Thor fighting off this fire demon, and he's doing it to rock music, and then this dragon comes out. Like, this is the Thor movie we should have got at the beginning. This is what these movies should have been about. Thor going around fighting monsters to kick-ass music. And it's just sad that it happened. It finally happened in movie number 3. Like, man, it's almost too little too late. I wish the Sakaar stuff was in his second movie, and then the Ragnarok stuff was in the full focus of the third film, because we would have felt more sorry for what's going on in Asgard. But still, the film is great overall. They really lean harder on the humor here, and it works for a lot of the time. There's a lot of funny jokes like "get help" or the devil's anus and stuff like that. It kind of works. Stan Lee has a very funny cameo in this film. It's one of my favorites because he's actually doing something important. He's cutting Thor's hair with this crazy gizmo, and that really put a smile on my face. And then Loki comes back, and I've never been a big Loki fan, but here I like him here. He works. He's basically like comic relief, and ruling Asgard has mellowed him out a lot, so he's not super vicious. He's kind of like a puppy dog in this film, and I like Loki this way. I love him and Thor scenes together. They really feel like siblings, and those are the best part of these films. Those are the only parts of these films that they've kept so far, because again, it feels like a soft reboot. They really went back to the drawing board for this film, and it shows. And Valkyrie is so much better female companion than Jane was. Jane, she was annoying. I never bought their relationship. They look like 2 high school students that had a crush on each other. At least Valkyrie is a strong character, and she kicks lots of ass here, and she's played by a great actress as well. There was a scene where they were going to show Valkyrie they were going to reveal that she was a lesbian, because there was going to be a female coming out of her bedroom, but it got cut. So I have a theory that in the flashback where Hela is fighting all the Valkyries, one of them takes a sword for this particular one, and My theory is that was her girlfriend. That's why you can like see it in her eyes, like she's like so shocked, and she doesn't want to relive that by going to Asgard. But Disney can't have same-sex couples in their movies for whatever reason, even though it would benefit them. That's just my theory, though. We go back to the beginning, the fight with the fire demon. It comes back at the end when they're fighting Hela on the Rainbow Bridge and they need help. So they do another creative way in dealing with the bad guy. They summon a bigger bad guy to destroy Hela, and I really like that. Idris Elba comes back as Heimdall in this movie, and they finally realize, like, hey, we have a really popular A-list actor. Let's put him to good use. So he gets a lot more action in this, and I'm happy about that. And he's sporting a new killer look. He got dreads going on, and he looks like a Jedi. It's cool. Would have been nice to see him more on Sakaar. Carl Urban is in this film too, and he's wonderful. He was in this movie called Dread. You should check it out. But in the film, they completely waste him. He's a Hela's executioner, but he doesn't execute anyone. He just goes around feeling bad until it's time for his action scene at the end with these two machine guns. And they could have done more with that character, so it was sad just to see him wasted. Like, again, this is a really fun Thor movie. I think they finally found the right formula for him to make him likable and to have him go on fun adventures, but it's too late. We might not see a Thor 4, unfortunately. And I just wish this new style was implemented early on. You also get a cool rematch of Thor versus Hulk from the Avengers, and he has to fight him hand to hand because in the beginning of this movie, Thor's hammer is broken. He has his Iron Man 3 moment, and he has to use his other strengths besides his main weapon of choice. So we see a lot of Thor using his lightning in this film, and he's never really used it that much in other movies, like maybe once or twice. He's used it very sparingly so far, but in this film he goes full Raiden, and I freaking loved it. Like, again, they finally made me care about Thor, but this is his last film in his trilogy, so it's really frustrating. Why couldn't this be happening sooner? But it doesn't stop it from being a great film. It's very enjoyable. First time I saw it, I wasn't too crazy on it, but like Guardians, on a rewatch at home, I enjoyed it a lot more, especially, getting all the jokes and stuff. The Bruce Banner stuff is really funny. He's like complaining about Tony's clothes, and being on another planet would freak anyone out, and he's just trying to hold it together. All the performances are great. They finally have a likable cast in these films, and I hope to see some of the side characters return in the future. And it's also a fitting story, a fitting end to Thor's story, because at the end he becomes king of Asgard, even though they blow it up. The story should have been taken more seriously. I think originally they were going to do that because I remember the title treatment. It was like in flames and it was more serious looking, but towards further in production, they got this new neon title to represent the film's like mood, which was going to be more colorful and more funny. And you can even tell in the music, it's very like 80s synthesizer. It feels like a cartoon. But I would have loved to see what the original like story of Ragnarok was supposed to be. It definitely was supposed to be more serious. My theory is it was supposed to involve the Infinity Stones, because at the end of Age of Ultron, that's where Thor goes. For basically, 2 years, this guy's been looking for Infinity Stones, and then the result of that is just a throwaway line in the beginning. I thought that was very confusing. And then on top of that, when he's meeting Doctor Strange, there's an Infinity Stone right in front of him, and he doesn't know it. It's just like, dude, there's one right there. Wait, look. Overall, I'm happy with what we got. And it sets the stage for Infinity War. But before we get to Infinity War, we have one more solo adventure, or should I say duo adventure, to tackle. and that's Ant-Man and the Wasp. So join me tomorrow as we see what Scott Lang's been up to. Thank you for watching.